Hello everyone, welcome to Get Educon, and today I will discuss about some terminologies and some important terminologies of CPU scheduling. So first of all, I will show you the CPU scheduling will be divided into two parts. Like first one is preemptive CPU scheduling, and second one is non-preemptive CPU scheduling. Okay, clear. So the only difference between them two are in preemptive scheduling, we can stop a process in the middle, can switch the CPU to run the next process, and after one by one, we again come back to the first process. Okay, if it is not completed. But in case of non-preemptive CPU scheduling, we cannot switch over CPU from one process to another process. Here we cannot stop CPU burst, and in non-preemptive CPU scheduling, we cannot do context switching during a CPU burst. Okay, I think this is clear to you. Okay, so in the next part, I will tell you some CPU scheduling criteria are there. So first terminology I want to share is CPU utilization. Okay, so what is the CPU utilization? Our target is 100% utilization of CPU. This is our main target. Okay, so this is our main motto for CPU utilization. So the second one is throughput. So what is the throughput? Number of jobs finished per unit time. Suppose there are four processes. Okay, suppose there are four processes. To complete this four process, suppose 30 milliseconds times are required. So in 1 millisecond, so 1 millisecond, in 1 millisecond, 4 by 30 processes, and in 1 second, this is 4 into 10 to the power 3 by 3. This is the throughput. So 4000 by 3. Okay, so this is the throughput. Okay, now next is arrival time. Arrival time, or we can say it is as starting time. Okay, so when any process will arrive to execute its means in any job scheduling, when one process will arrive, this is the arrival time. Like here, in case of suppose process 1, then process 2, in this way. Suppose is its executing time started in 0 and its executing started time is 3. So it's not means that the arrival time of P2 is 3. This is its starting of execution time. But suppose P2 arrives at 2 milliseconds. Okay, suppose arrival time of P1 is 0 and for P2 is 2. So the waiting time for P2 is 3 minus 2. This is 1. So this is its waiting time, and P2's arrival time is 2. It will be given in your problem. Okay. So the next part I want to share, that is waiting time, which I already discussed in arrival time. Okay. So when one process arrives and when a process starts its execution, the difference between these two times is known as waiting time. Suppose here it is P1, here it is P2. Suppose the arrival time of P1 is 0 and P2 is suppose T1, but P1 executes from 0 to suppose T2. Okay, so the execution time started for T2 is 2T, T2, but its arrival time is T1. So the difference between these two difference means T2 minus T1. This is its waiting time. it is its first waiting time, and the first waiting time is also known as the response time. First, note down this: first waiting time is response time. Suppose here P3 started, okay, at time 3. Again P2 means its execution not totally completed. Okay, so at time T4, suppose P2 again started. So the second waiting time for P2 is T4 minus T2. So the total waiting time is T2 minus T1 plus T4 minus T2. T4 minus, sorry, T3. This is T4 minus T3. This is the ending time, means T3 is the ending time of the execution of first P2 execution, and the second execution started time for P2 is T4. So here again waiting time is T4 minus T3. So this is T2 minus T1 plus T4 minus T3. I think it's clear. Okay. So the next thing is turnaround time. Or TAT, the time gap between the submission of job to the completion of job. This is known as the turnaround time. Okay, or also turnaround time is waiting time plus burst time, or the second formula is job completion time minus job starting time. Sorry, job not starting time, it's submission time. For submission for execution, okay, submission time. So this is the turnaround time. Two formulas are there. We use one when it will be helpful, and we use two in some other cases when it is helpful. Okay. Now, point 7 is context switch. So context switch is switching the CPU from one process to another process. One process to another process. Switching. This is context switching. Okay. The next thing is burst time. Okay, BT. Burst time means total execution time. Suppose P1 0 to 2, then P2, suppose 2 to 4, again P1 4 to 6. So the burst time of P1 is 0 to 2, these two, and 4 to 6, these two. Means 2 plus 2 is 4 milliseconds. This is the burst time for P1. The burst time for P2 is 2. Okay. Now the next thing is dispatcher. So what is the dispatcher? It is a process which does the context switch. Okay, process which does the context switch is known as the dispatcher. And dispatch latency, the time taken by the dispatcher to do the context switch. Okay, time taken by dispatcher to do context switch. So this is all for today. And in the next session, we will discuss about some other algorithms for CPU scheduling and different types of schedulers. Okay. So thanks for watching. Do like, share, subscribe as much as possible if you like. Thank you.